To introduce Mark Kozol. I partner with Clarke, Snow, and Riley, a regular reporter on this broadcast as well. As always, Mark, wonderful to see you, and welcome back to Radio Entrepreneurs.
Well, thank you. Great to see both of you.
I heard you have two interesting topics that you want to bring up today.
Well, I don't know how interesting they are, but they are relevant, Jeffrey.
Okay, I'll take relevant.
Okay, the first is apparently the Congress may actually bend to our friends at Amazon and Overstock.com and actually allow the states to tax purchases over the internet and make them subject to sales tax.
Right.
So I've been following this story relatively closely over the past month or so, and I know that we love to debate.
Doesn't make much sense, does it, that it's gone this long, does it?
Exactly. So I guess my question is, why should it matter? If they end up taxing them, obviously Amazon will push back hard and say that it's become a major competitive advantage. But if they do end up getting taxed, who cares? Or am I missing something obvious?
You're missing absolutely nothing. Like, for instance, Walmart, that does a tremendous amount of their sales online because they have locations, bricks and mortar, in the various states, are required to remit sales tax to those various states. Why should Amazon get an unfair advantage by being online and having very few locations? And by the way, when they get a location, if they purchase a company, they will do their damnedest to try to mitigate their contacts to the various states that they bought that business in, so they will not be subject to sales tax.
Okay, so let me take Amazon's side for a moment.
I just want to make sure, Greg, you're saying why do the tax, and Mark's
saying
you should.
No, what I'm saying is why should they be exempt? I just wanted to hear that argument.
Because they're doing business.
Right, and I'm going to give the opposite argument now, which is that Apple and so many other companies spend so much of their time trying to figure out their tax revenue by legally and ethically operating offshore, etc. Why shouldn't Amazon, if they have a dearth of brick and mortar locations, be exempt from sales tax? Obviously the states would love it because they collect more tax revenue.
One wrong deed deserves another.
Exactly, two wrongs don't make a right. Ethically, I don't go there, the fact that they're going overseas, okay? I mean, honestly, everybody should be taxed the same, have the same type of tax, whether you are bricks and mortars or whether you're an online entity. And that goes for Amazon as well. Okay, they've got away with murder. And that is the poster child for the potential changes that are going to be proposed as far as taxing some of these offshore entities immediately, as opposed to when cash is repatriated into this country.
Okay, so let me continue to push back, so I think it's a healthy debate for our listeners.
We're debating?
We're discussing.
Shayna, your turn.
If somebody...
I won't even go there.
If somebody is having to pay 5% approximately higher, do you really think it's going to erode Amazon, Apple, any of these other companies' competitive advantage?
Absolutely not. Because it's just it's
about revenue.
It's about revenue. They make it a lot easier to get product. Okay? But still, from the same point of view, some products will be priced the same as the brick and mortar. And you have all these brick and mortar companies complaining, justifiably so, that they have an unfair advantage and they're going out of business because the economy is so tough to compete in retail.
Right. I got 2 points, before Greg goes again. One, the way the media's addressed it. When I've seen it in the media, they're always talking about the mom and pop home business that's doing internet business and making it look like they're a victim to the government, and I don't think that's a fair depiction at all.
A mom and pop internet business?
Yeah, like Mark Kozol opens up in his house selling customized underwear, and is selling them on the selling it on the internet.
That's a scary thought, Jeffrey.
And you're going to lose your tax-free. If you have to
I
start
think there very well could
taxes.
be $1 million exemption for the mom and pop outfits out there under the proposed bill that was passed by the Senate.
Good.
To answer that question.
So there's a quid pro quo in there.
Of course, we don't know what's going to happen in the House.
Right.
Okay, but you're saying there is a quid pro quo in the writing of the bill, so the media has sort of skewed this to make it look like the poor little victim.
Correct.
Is that true?
Absolutely. What was your second point, though?
My second point was really around this whole issue of, if I'm going on the internet to buy something, it's because I'm buying it for convenience. Convenience is the competitive advantage of why I'm buying it. I expect price equivalency I don't expect to not pay sales tax. I would expect the sales tax,
Right.
but I don't expect it to be more expensive or cheap, more expensive, but I also don't expect it to be cheaper, and that's the tax advantage.
So Mark, here's a question for you out of quasi left field. In China, as an example, the prices are inclusive of tax. So if something costs 250 RMB, RMB being local currency, the renminbi, you basically fork over 250 RMB, you get your product and you walk out of the store. And you never say on a receipt, blah, 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 blah. It's just baked into the cost of the goods.
Not your problem.
Right. Do you think that is what you are advocating? And this should all of these retailers, I mean, state laws and state disclosure notwithstanding, should they just say the price is X and not
Before
work?
the question, is it one tax level across all of China?
Yeah, it's essentially one to, but it's sales tax. I mean, sales tax.
Yeah, but here we have different tax state by state.
It is slightly different in China, but just for the purposes of discussion, it's going to be, you know, X% regardless of what state you're operating in. I know New Hampshire, Nevada, blah, 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 blah.
Nice places.
Thank you.
No problem. I agree with you, but for a different reason. Okay? When you buy something, you want to know what the real price of it is. And that should be. It should be the full price. And let the retailer then deal with the sales tax. Do I care how much of it goes for sales tax? No. Why should I? That's really the retailer's problem.
I love walking into the alcohol stores in New Hampshire and seeing tax-free wine that costs me more than taxed wine in Massachusetts.
But at least you know what the real price is,
I do.
Jeffrey.
I want to know. I want to be an educated consumer.
And you walk right out, and that's fine.
Exactly.
So let me ask both of you esteemed gentlemen an important question. If you knew the tax-free weekend was coming up in Massachusetts, would that be an impetus for you to do different purchasing behavior?
Depends on the size of the purchase.
Of course, but I'm
And
just
whether
saying
I need
in
that
general.
purchase.
Right.
Right. Right. I'm still going to want to make a deal on the base price.